Hi, my name is Jane Mann, and I own a skincare clinic in Las Vegas in the brand Skin by Jane Mann. I also created and use the newANMA for breaking up resistance or stubborn fascia. So I thought today I would first introduce the new color. This is rose water, and the lighting doesn't do it justice, but it is the palest, most gorgeous pink in the world. And what a way to introduce a product than a new way to use the product. So in a lot of my discussions, we have always discussed about the fingers. And I think 90% of my consumers and people that have bought the newANMA really focus on the fingers. And then in one video, I showed you how to use the thumbs for acupressure points. Now this is the back of the neck. I call this area kind of the low arch, the back of the arch of the back, and I call this the spine. And today I want to show you how to use the spine on really dense, deep fascia. So anytime I use my newANMA, I take the opportunity to use some skincare. And today I'm using Victoria Deanne's Tone, and I put a little bit on, more on than I normally do. So I'm going to pat this on my neck, and I chose Tone because Tone sends almost like a Morse code pattern to the muscles to kind of calm down, not to be so reactive, and to kind of relax. It's more of a natural approach to managing facial expression lines than Botox. And again, I normally wouldn't use this amount, but what I'm looking for is a little bit of tack. And I love the result that Victoria Deanne peptides leave on my skin, because I get a little bit of a stick if I use too much. So I'm putting this all over my face, and I'm not going to layer this with another product. I'm just using Tone today. And now I'm going to let this kind of dry a little bit, and I'm going to, think of all these little signals going into all of my overexpressive muscles right now. All the signals telling things to calm down. And I'm going to use the spine. Now, the place that I'm going to go first is, if you can see this diagram, I'm going around line 1, and this is our occipital ridge. You can kind of put your head back and tilt and go forward. Tilt and go forward. It's kind of the hinge of the neck. So I'm going to place the newANMA right there, right on that little section. I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to press in. And I'm pressing in, right? So you can kind of see if you have it in the right spot, kind of wiggle it. If it's really tight, and kind of wiggle the head slightly, kind of letting it in. Now, sometimes really dense, tight fascia, it almost feels like a bone. But if you hold it, that area begins to soften. Now, use common sense. If you're hurting, don't do it, and let a professional work with you. But if you're doing this and you're fine, you might find a mild discomfort, you're good. Kind of wiggle that head, kind of get that in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist the newANMA clockwise. So I'm twisting, and I'm opening a jar, but I'm just going in, and I'm creating nice space. You can kind of feel. And after I do that, I'm going to hold, just kind of anchor that skin. And I've got the pressure of about a 2. And I'm just going down the trapezius. Now the trapezius, you can see, is highlighted in green in the poster behind me. And this muscle is always overworked. If you're in a profession as a dental hygienist or a dentist, an esthetician, even those of you that are cocktail servers, maybe working at your computer all the time, we are hunched over all the time. And this muscle really takes a brunt. So I love to just work this area. Then I like to work right underneath the neck. I'm just kind of holding, and again, I'm at about a level 2. So to show you what the levels look like, just where you can get a visual, this would be level 1. Do you see how light I am? I'm just literally brushing the skin. A deeper level is when I'm kind of making an indent, just resting that along the tissue over the muscle. And then that would be a level 2. Level 3 is where I'm really making an indent and I'm really stripping the fascia along that muscle. So here I'm using a level 2. And I'm just going in right under that jawbone and I'm going down. And I'm not rushing it. Many times we think that, you know, in the face and neck area, we should move really rapidly. And you don't have to all the time. I think that it's nice to create options. And sometimes fascia responds better to a longer stretch. So maybe sometimes you do go rapidly and you go in an area, but if you're not getting the desired result, you try a different approach. So I'm going down even into my kind of collarbone area where those scalenes are. And if you turn your head, you'll feel that scalene kind of pull. So next I'm going to go again, nestled under that jaw. I like to anchor to create resistance, and I'm pulling down. The rate or the speed of which you go is the rate or the speed your tissue moves. I always use the analogy of a piece of clay. When you were younger, they would set, you know, that stick of clay in front of you and they'd say, you know, make a person or a chair, whatever. And you would get it and the clay was so hard and you couldn't get that clay to move. But after your hand kind of warmed it up, the clay started to mold in your fingers. Fascia is very similar. Now we're going to reverse. Whereas we were going down here, we're going to anchor, and still at a level 2, we're going to go up. And I've got my hand holding resistance. And I'm just moving at the rate that the tissue allows me to. And that's when we're working the fascia. And sometimes if you have a big mass or there's bunched up fascia or there's restriction, it may just sit for a while. And that's okay. See what happens being patient. See what happens listening and keying into what you're feeling. So I'm going up. Every area as you move feels a little bit differently because nothing is just perfect. We don't move our face in the same muscle tension. So as I went over here, it felt one way, but the moment I went over my temples, where I carry a lot of tension in that temporalis area, it slowed down. It didn't want to move as quickly. So you have to be patient and aware. So there are lots of little tips and techniques. You can do this anywhere on your face. Give using the spine a shot. And order the new rose water. It is the perfect gift for yourself. It is the perfect gift for somebody that you think might enjoy doing an newANMA treatment on themselves. If you like this video, please give it a like so I know that this is something that you appreciated and you like this kind of content. If you feel someone else would benefit from this video, please pass it along to them to maybe also subscribe. Put any of your questions and comments in the space below, and let me know what else you want to hear from.